As you can see, this model is the rollerboard style, which has just the single wheels here and the stand-up feet. Compare that to my Crew Classic, which is the spinner style, which has 4 wheels and spins around. So when I'm rolling this aboard, I have to just simply roll it, versus the spinner style, well, you can literally spin it. Now, obviously, these are not exactly the same model, but it's very difficult to find the rollerboard style Crew Classic and in the Maxlite as well. But when I originally bought the Maxlite, this is the one that I wanted the most capacity. If you look on the bottom, you can see that they almost have the same capacity. The wheel cutouts in the spinner on the Crew Classic do eat up a little bit of space, but unlike other designs, Travelpro put an additional 2 inches of capacity in the bottom. That is super, super nice. Let me show you here. You got 2 inches extra in the bottom, give or take, that you don't lose that much capacity to other designs, and that's why I chose the Travelpro. Now, as you can see here, these are both certified for rollerboard carry or roll-on carry on all US airlines. So as long as you don't have basic economy, you can get these bad boys on and no problem. I've flown America, United, Delta, Southwest, JetBlue ones, no problem there, but always check with the specifications. So as you can see here, when you look at the measurement of these, the actual handle is about 23, but the bags measure 22 inches tall. So technically, when you measure it, they don't really measure the handles, but if I put my tape measure right against the Crew Classic, it's 22. And obviously, if I put this against the Maxlite, again, it's 22. They're extremely comparable in size, which is really nice. You can see the thickness without the expander on the Crew Classic is about 10 inches, maybe 9.5. And on the Maxlite, it is just about 9.5. So the Crew Classic is a little bit thicker. Now, as far as width goes, let me lay these down here. And just a note, if you watch a YouTuber reviewing luggage and they still have the original tags on it, they've never used that luggage. I've actually used this. This has gone to San Diego, Georgia, South Carolina. This is a little bit older. It's gone all around London, England, Italy, all around Europe, like 6 or 7 different countries. This is relatively new. This has about 5 years on it. I love both. I got this one, I'll explain why. So the width here is, it's like 14.5 inches. I'm not going to give you in centimeters because I can't calculate that in my head. And this one again is 14.5 inches. So no problem there. What about weight? That's the big difference. The Maxlite versus the Crew Classic. There's a reason this is called the Maxlite 5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my handy dandy luggage scale here. All right. I'm going to pick up the Maxlite 5. I do have luggage tags on here, and we're just going to assume you're always going to have luggage tags. So we'll just assume that works. Oopsie, I zeroed it out. Hang on. Okay, there we go. All right, so the Maxlite weighs 5.6 pounds or 2.55 kilos. Compare that to the Crew Classic, which is a much heavier fatty here, and I'll show you why in a minute. All right. Again, I'm going to zero this bad boy out. Hopefully not mess it up. Pick it up. Ugh. All right. The Crew Classic is 7.5 pounds or 3.5 kilos. Substantially heavier, about between 40 and 50% heavier. So right away, you see that, I can't really see my head, that the Maxlite is light. What do you get for your lightness versus the extra weight and the styling of the Crew Classic? Well, let me show you. I'm going to now open these and show you some of the features inside each. Let me move my scale away here. One moment for that. All right, so when I open these bad boys, you'll immediately see the zipper styling on here is pretty sexy. The zippers on the Crew Classic have the nice logo, professionally made here, all steel. The Maxlite 5, they gain a little bit of extra weight by making them hollow and just adding a plastic insert. But when you open these things, I'm gonna open this here. I'll bring the camera over in a moment, just want to show you there. But you can see here that the Maxlite 5 has a mesh pouch on the side. It's got a mesh pouch here. It's got the mesh pouch suitor right here versus the Travelpro has a, or not the Travelpro, but the Crew Classic has a solid, let's see, where is it? A solid pouch here. It also comes with this very nice extender organizer pouch that you can load up extra stuff here if you're the organizing type. And it has another pouch here that you can zip. It has some sort of steel frame in it, which is very nice. And it comes with these little clips and strap loaders that the internal straps allow you to just simply hook this bad boy on. However it is, I don't even use it, honestly, because I'm not that type of organizer person. And it can go and load on top of your gear. So this alone adds how much weight to it is a good question. Let me show you. So if you want to ditch the organizer, we'll kick out this scale. So if you want to ditch this organizer, this scale, that adds another quite substantial, almost half a pound of weight, can be taken out 6 ounces or 170 grams. So quite a bit of weight if you ditch the organizer. It doesn't seem like much, but every half pound makes a big difference in traveling. Now, as far as the insides go again, let me show you there. Very nice. I'm going to just ditch the travel pouch thing there, the inside of the Maxlite. It definitely feels like a lighter and not cheaper because these are expensive fabric, but everything is designed to be light. The rails in here, good and solid aluminum there. The rails in here are definitely heavier. They're thick, they're round, so they're more tubular. I can feel them there. Compared to the Maxlite 5, I can feel they're the square style of tubes here, and I'll show you the handles in a moment. Of course, this Travelpro, the Maxlite 5, also has compression straps, which is really nice. Now this pouch can hold a lot of stuff, and I mean like a lot, but I don't really use it except for maybe some organizing where I don't want to have things float around. I'll show you in a minute where I load up 5 days worth of travel clothes here. This on the Crew Classic, same sort of thing. It's got a nice big pouch, but it does come with extra repair zippers, a nice little tag, QR codes. So that is a nice touch. You're actually getting repair zippers because Travelpro knows that luggage handlers and rampers and TSA are kind of rough with the gear. All right. And then just to show you that this actually works here, they've got the little notches here. I'll actually put this on so you can see it happening. And these are bungee style, okay? See it happening. And you can see I never use this part because I'm just not that crazy of an organizer, and this is a lot of irritation for me, but doing a proper review is the way to go. And there you go, so that can float inside. So if you want to contain your stuff, you can, but again, that drives me berserk because I just want to get to my stuff. I don't want to have to disassemble this constantly, and I don't want to carry an extra half pound just to carry an extra half pound, okay? Now, as far as the front suitor design on the Maxlite 5, we're going to unzip this. It's got a mesh design here. It's a lighter open mesh. And you can see my air tag. there. And also my special note that has my name, address, and contact information, because if the luggage tag gets ripped off, your luggage is toast, and you say that'll never happen. You've never been in an airport where you see luggage handles ripped off. Yeah, so what you want to do is put your contact information inside a Ziploc, inside somewhere else, so in the unlikely event that your handle is destroyed and the tag is lost, the luggage handlers can still actually find your bags. Now compare that against the, let me get this out of the way here so you can see this better. The Crew Classic has a little bit heavier zipper on here. It has this tag in here that kind of talks about Travelpro from one pilot's invention. It's a nice touch. Do you really need this here? Not really, but whatever. I'm not going to rip it out because it will make the bag look terrible. I'll unzip this. Again, I've got my air tag here with a cable lock, and it opens just like that. So as far as the suitors go, where it holds flat items, it works about the same. This is just a little bit heavier fabric. All right. Now, let's compare the front loaders, and I'll also show you the expanders as well. All right. And you can see dirty, used, scuffed up, dirty, used. So just so you can trust my review, because I actually use these things. Now the Maxlite Pro, or the Maxlite 5 here, not the Pro, but the Maxlite, this design has a hatch that you can unzip, and it completely opens like a Kermit mouth. It's pretty nice. You can see all the way down in there. And this expands quite a bit. I mean, I've jammed some jackets and whatnot in here, and it expands quite well. So that is a nice feature. And then it has this top hatch where it goes down. How far does it go down? Let me get my tape measure. All right, this goes down inside. Oh, about, let's say with a zipper, about 5.5 inches of practicality. So you can stuff another 5.5 inch sort of item on here, up in the top of this little mini pouch on top of there. This guy here, the extended pouch, is almost 16 inches long. It's pretty impressive. And width-wise, it's in practical use terms, about 11 inches. Now, how does that compare to the Crew Classic? The Crew Classic is a little bit different. This has got, again, this hatch, and I use these pilot tags. I love these things. I'll put links below to everything I have on here. This, again, is a Kermit style. It's actually a little bit smaller than the Maxlite. The fabric is a little bit tougher, and their badging is a little bit different on here. The Kermit mouth is about 11 inches, pretty comparable. It goes all the way down in about 15 inches, so it actually is a little bit smaller. So that is pretty comparable. So we'll zip up the Kermit mouth. But this, the secret hatch, again, oh, really? It's the same? Yes, yes it is. So this goes down about 6 inches into the inside. I will show you the inside here. There you go. Doesn't open very easily. I don't really put stuff in there because I've lost things in these and found them far, far later. So that's like, well, you know, do you really care about that? As far as the expanders, both of these bags have expanders. So if you're completely zipped up and you're fully loaded and you can't get all your junk in there, you can use the little expander on the Maxlite 5 here. Here's a zipper. You can unzip this completely, and you can get another about an inch, inch and a half of expansion on the Maxlite 5. So if you really got to haul some more junk, and I'll show you, you don't need to really do that unless you really need to do that. And then the expander on the Travelpro comes from the same, or Travelpro, the Crew Classic. Now they have the nice leather tags. instead of plastic, so that is a nice touch. And then if we unzip this, again, the expander is about 1.5 inches, about the same. So if you use the expanders on both of these pieces of luggage, they're pretty comparable, so it's kind of tough there. The corner pieces on here are some sort of polymer plastic. On here, they do the two-tone match, and it's another polymer piece of plastic. You've got the faux, it's probably pleather here, but faux leather here on top. You can see the handle differences, right? So on the top, here it is, but it is bolted. This one, actually, this one, no, the Maxlite 5, the handle doesn't do much of anything other than lift up, but let me get all this junk off here, just so you can see what's going. So they actually do fly a lot, Platinum Delta, and let me tell you, it's going to be a lot harder to get Platinum status now that Delta has changed their rules. Such is life. But this guy actually has a spring-loaded retractable handle. I don't even really know what's in there other than it floats. It spring loads here, and it snaps back compared to the Maxlite 5. This guy hangs out a bit, so there is a slight probability of getting snagged on the machine and tearing, but they do have bar tack stitching on here, so it protects it. It's got the same pleather, and it's got a nice fabric here for holding. On the blow here, this actually is not as comfortable to hold, but once the luggage is much heavier, this expands up and your hand gets under there. So on the Maxlite 5, the Maxlite handle on top is actually a winner because it's much easier to grab than the Crew Classic, but the Crew Classic retracts compared to the Maxlite to prevent damage. Now, on the back of these guys, each has a little pouch or a little retractor for contact information. So you can actually put a little contact patch in here. And what I would recommend is taping this in, because the last time I flew, I came back home, this had actually snagged and it was flapping around. I can't believe it didn't get destroyed. I'm super thankful it did not. I might just eventually tape that down, because just with clear tape, because it would suck to be damaged. They also have rail sliders on here. So if you drag your luggage up, these will protect the back of your luggage, which is really nice. Compare that to the Maxlite 5. They have a sewn-on pleather pouch where you can put a little bit of contact info in there. So far, this has never ripped off, but I personally would actually prefer the contact patch compared to the pull-out on the Crew Classic, because once this pulls out and it yanks off, it's gone. So that's something to consider too. As far as the side handles go, they're completely different. This one is a much lighter duty. It's still double sewn on here on the Maxlite 5, but I never just grab and yank this, because even though it's sewn in here very well, I just always am worried that I'm going to tear this and it would rip out the side, and that would be a crime moment. Compared to the handle on the Crew Classic, again, it's got that floaty, springy style thing where I can feel a little mechanism in here. This is a much more substantial side handle than the Maxlite 5, so that is a consideration there. And now let me show you the bottom of these guys. They both have a handle on the bottom, so if you really need to heft your luggage, the Maxlite 5 has a cloth handle here. I've always been careful because I haven't wanted to tear the stitching, but the Crew Classic is a solid plastic piece. This thing is way, way more confidence-inspiring and solid. Also, the bottom slider, the bottom protector for dragging your luggage across things is here. The one on the Crew Classic is way more substantial as well, so that is a big difference on these units. And you can see the bottom of these. These wheels spin incredibly well. I scooted this through the airport. I just rolled it and it just like took off on me. Of course, the rollerboard can't do that, but the wheels still spin perfectly after years of use. like great. These, of course, are maybe half a year old and they still spin just fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load these up with 5 days of travel clothing and trinkets to give you an idea of the storage capacity. And I'm going to load and unload each of them just to show you that they truly can handle this. And I'm going to shrink the compression down just to show you just how much these can store without compression. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over here, unzip this completely in the Maxlite, and then I'm going to get my pile of clothing over here. And hopefully I don't dump my clothing all over the place, because that would be funny on YouTube, because I usually don't generally cut my videos too much. And what I'm going to do is simply load 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs of pants here, because I'm wearing my 5th pair of pants. I have underwear. You don't go commando, do you? I will jam those into the side there as well. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shirts. Plenty of space so far, right? Pretty good. I've got 5 days worth of socks. Yes, I know they're not my synthetics, but I just want to grab big bulky socks to give you an idea. I can jam those in the side here. Okay, so far so good, right? Now I've got my travel shorts so I can work out or sleep in them. So I'll just mush those down there. I've got my flip-flops here, and I will put those in the bottom so they're not getting everything dirty. Now, of course, real travelers do not pack their toiletries in their check luggage ever. If you rollerboard, this is okay, but I'll just toss these in here just to give you an idea of what you can do. And then if you're a person who uses a hair flattener and a hair dryer, you can pack those in here just like this, no problem. And then after that, I'm going to travel to a rainy place, and I've got my raincoat in here. And then, of course, besides my pants, I've got some sort of sleeping shirt. So I just want to put my sleeping shirt in here, just like that. And then I've got my pretty heavy-duty hoodie fleece jacket to seal up the deal so it's easily accessible. So that's 5 days of clothes. I'm wearing my 1 pants, have an extra shirt. So that is pretty good. And let's seal this bad boy up. Zip it up. And I did not use the expander at all. So this can easily eat 5 days of clothes. Now let me weigh it for you so I can show you what Aaron's 5 days of clothes would wear if I were crazy enough to bring that kind of clothing. If it was just a 5-day trip, I would bring that level of clothing. If it was a longer trip, I'd only bring about 3 days worth of clothing, knowing that I'm going to do laundry. So how much does the Maxlite 5 weigh with clothing? Not bad. So 5 days of clothing plus hair dryers and all the accoutrement is 19.7 pounds, or basically 9 kilos. So pretty good. Now also, too, before I go on, you'll see that the main hatch zipper does have a security loop. So if you want, you can actually get a security lock, like I've got this TSA 007. You could easily put it through there, lock that boy up, and there you go. Now, this won't keep thieves out of your bag. The only point is to prevent the zipper from unzipping. That's the only point of this, because thieves will just steal your bag. And the TSA, I always put the code on here, because the TSA, if they can't get this unlocked, they will simply cut this lock, or tragically, I've seen them just literally people's luggage destroyed. They just rip it apart, the zippers are destroyed. No offense to TSA, but I've seen some pretty ruined stuff. I've also had my luggage completely unzipped, like when I arrived in Iceland, my bag was completely open to here, and not just my bag, but everyone's bag from JFK to Iceland had their bags like unzipped. Let me get this out to here. So thank goodness nothing fell out, but so many people were mad on that. So what I do, this is one of the secrets I was going to tell you, I put this on here, and the only reason I put that on there is security or whoever might think, oh, there's a lock here. I might need to actually bother relocking it and doing that. Don't even lock the stupid thing. Just put the code on there so they don't actually tear things apart. All right, no bitterness there whatsoever. And now, will the Crew Classic hold the same amount of stuff? Let's find out. Oh, and by the way, the Crew Classic does have the exact same style. And I've got my AirTag here. Let me toss that back in. By the way, TSA has opened my bag to look at my AirTag so many times. How do I know that? Simple secret. They always open my bag. My AirTag is always zipped into the suitor part of my bag. And I always jam it in there, just like this. So it's in there. But every time I go through TSA, there's a little tag warning me, and this guy's just magically floating around. So I know even if they don't put the "Hello, we inspected your bag" tag, I know they've gotten in there because they've messed with my setup. So kind of a detection of who's snooping around, right? Okay, so now we're going to go into the Crew Classic, and let's see if I can just reverse load 5 days of clothing from one bag to the other. I'll just flip them like this, mate to mate. Okay, so I'm just gonna reverse load it here. I'm gonna put my crazy thick fleece jacket in. This thing is huge. I'm gonna put my sleep shirt in, and then my raincoat, because wherever I'm going it's rainy. And, right, gotta have your hair dryer and hair flattener. So it's a critical piece of equipment. And toiletries, toothbrush, floss, deodorant. You do use deodorant, right? Okay, so I've kind of been a little wasteful with my space. I'm not nearly as careful packing, but I've got my shorts in here. So far, so good. Doesn't look as much space, but I'm not loading efficiently. So let's be a little more smart about my loading, just because I want to actually make this work for the video. And I like doing non-cut videos, because you know if I continuously film, this is legit, I'm not going away. So if I make a mistake, you get to see it, and you get to see what happens and how I deal with it. All right, jam my socks in there, jam my socks in there, jam my socks. Now it looks like, because I put my jacket on the bottom, there is not as much space, so that is a consideration. For these guys, I shouldn't have put my jacket in the bottom. I'm gonna rip my jacket out, why not? I would never put my jacket on the bottom anyway. So I'm gonna show you how I would pack it. There we go, much better. That's how I would pack it. And of course, underwear, because you wear underwear too. And if you don't, more power to you, Commando. Okay. Yeah, so you get to check out my underwear. Doesn't everybody wear underwear? Okay. So far, so good. Got my flip-flops. I will just jam those in the side there. Okay. And there. Got my last pair of pants. Okay, good, good, good. Got my critical hair dryer and hair flattener because I need to do that on my hair a lot, as you can see there. Okay, press these guys in. All right, put my jacket on top, don't lose the cord out. Okay, moment of truth. And I'll even be a little sloppy, like I was on a long trip and I didn't care anymore, even though I do care. And let's zip this bad boy closed. Okay. Zip it closed. So yes, it does pack a little bit tighter than the Maxlite 5, and the reason for that is because the spinner style has less capacity than the rollerboard style. So if you need the most capacity, do not get spinners. It's just that simple. Rollerboard has way more capacity. It will be a little less, or a little bit more space on here. The spinner is nicer to travel through airports, but in Europe, when you're walking on cobblestones, spinner wheels are like useless because you can't hold this up. It'll but rollerboards, like in Amsterdam, at the train station, all you hear is click, 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 click. These people with the spinners are always fighting it, so that's a bit of a bummer. But as you can see, that packs really well. So let's move on to the handles. Okay. So really about the same height. And you'll notice the spinner goes straight up versus the rollerboard has a bit of an angle because of how the tilt back works. Now the difference in these, I can lift this up, I can drop this down to a midpoint and it will lock. I can drop it down to there and it doesn't have a lower point. It does touch there, so it does have a mid-height. The Crew Classic, however, has one lock here, another lock here, another lock here, and I think, yeah, that's it, all the way down. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 stops compared to the Maxlite, which has 1 stop, 2 stops. So if you want some extra adjustments, you definitely want to go with the Crew Classic. The bronze finishing on the Crew Classic is much nicer than the standard anodized, or not anodized, but the standard plain aluminum on the Maxlite. The handles feel about the same. They're the exact same design. Got the same screws. The buttons on top of the handles are super comparable. Oh, and I didn't weigh this, sorry. Oh, yeah. Where's my scale? Shoot, I'll get my scale in a moment. Oh, there it is. All right, so let's see how this weighs, or how much this weighs, just to give you an idea. Okay, exact same amount of material. Okay, the Crew Classic clocks in at 21.4 pounds or 9.7 kilos, so quite a bit heavier with the exact same load. And once this bag is loaded, how well does it spin? Granted, I'm on a plastic table. Pretty darn well. The bearings in these things are incredible. Now, as far as height goes, I am 6 feet tall, and everybody's luggage extends roughly about the same. So if you want to fully raise these up, for a rollerboard, this height here is, it's the exact same height. The rollerboard height is 42 inches. So 42 inches right there. And the spinner is, well, 42 inches, exactly the same. Now the angle, when I have the rollerboard here, let me tilt this down. Okay, so the rollerboard here goes at this sort of angle. So having the single setting here, if you're a shorter person, that's really all you need for the rollerboard. The spinner, the actual full height is okay if you're gonna drag this across cobblestones. It actually works, excuse me, pretty well. But for the spinner height, I'm 6 foot tall. This first setting is too high. The next setting, let's see, where is it? Yeah, even for me at this height, it's just a little bit too high. I'd prefer it to be down, but if I was a shorter person, it would work pretty well. So these height midpoints don't mean much to me, other than, hey, if I just want to drag this thing across European cobblestones, I would actually use it a little bit shorter. So this thing isn't literally sticking out like how far behind me. Yeah, that's a thing to consider too, is this actually sticks out, oh gosh, almost 3 feet behind me. So that's something to be aware of, is the rollerboard style. When you're walking along, that thing is 3 feet behind, so that's a pretty big tail for you to haul around. So let me show you, like I promised, a couple of my travel tips of how to keep your luggage coming back home. Okay, so tip number 1 is label the heck out of your bag. I don't usually use this on my checked luggage, but my name tag here, I'll always put it somewhere in here so the airline can look this up. The second thing is, I always make sure to put a luggage marker on here, not just the little paper ones you get at the gate, because these things will tear off so easily. I can't believe they actually stay on. But real ones, and also, unless you want to have people checking you out, make sure to get one with a cover flap that covers your name and phone number, because if you're attractive or interesting or you get a problem, people will actually take pictures of this and then call you later. It's pretty entertaining, let me tell you. Then also, let me show you here, if I can get this thing off. They're called luggage tag worms. These luggage tag worms are super, super handy. I'll put a link below to these as well. You can actually buy these in bulk, like by the 100. So that's pretty nice. So always use that sort of security. And then inside of your bag, again, if the handle gets ripped off, the airline's tag gets removed, your security tag gets removed, this gets removed. How do you get your luggage back to you? You actually put your name on a piece of paper and either tape it inside so it's obvious, so when somebody tears the luggage off and they're actually trying to find the owner, they can still find this. But I also use air tags. Let me show you here. I've got this nice little cable. They're colorful and fun. And let me tell you, you think an air tag isn't a big deal. There's a guy who had his luggage stolen by somebody working at the airport, won't say who. He was able to track his tag back in Anchorage to an apartment. I don't know if he was able to get it back, but that was a drama. So yes, air tags are a little bit expensive, but I have had my luggage misplaced in San Diego, Vegas, and where else? Momentarily misplaced in Columbia, South Carolina too. That was fun. And the air tag dinged because I literally was in the luggage hall that I was supposed to be in Vegas, and my luggage dinged in the other terminal. I was like, what? I had to go outside, take a shuttle, go all the way around. There was no walking, and my air tag was the only thing that helped me find my luggage. It was like 11 at night, arriving in Vegas. Nobody was around to help, and I came there, and there's this huge mountain of luggage. They unloaded it into the wrong terminal. How that happened, I have no clue. But thank goodness someone walked around with their iPhone and it pinged my luggage tag or my air tag, and I was able to find it. Same thing happened in San Diego. It's supposed to come off in one carousel. It was all the way to the freaking other side of the building. So again, my air tag pinged and I was able to do this and wander around. And voila, I was able to find my luggage. So air tags are huge. These cable deals are super nice too. Probably won't focus on them. And what they have is a little thread here. And you can put anything through it, and they're super, super helpful. And you just spin it here like that. And really, really nice. So I highly recommend those. And of course, some sort of fun air tag holder. Just like this. This is a faux leather one. And in my Crew Classic, I have, and again, I do the maneuver where I put my air tag. Let me show you. This is a trick to see if somebody's been messing in your bag, TSA, and they didn't leave a tag, is I always zip my air tag inside of the suitor part. So invariably, this will come out with this flapping around, so I know they got into my bag. But this guy has a carabiner with a little silicone rubber thing that holds the air tag. Super fun. So all those things will help you get your luggage back to you when you're traveling. All of these techniques have saved my bacon. Extra labels, labels on the inside, and air tags, and that hopefully will get all your luggage back. If it's more than that, yeah, that'll probably happen. I've met a couple that they had their luggage ran over by their aircraft as they were flying to the Caribbean. I shouldn't laugh, but that happened. So